Welcome back to Falmouth, everyone. Falmouth Ice Arena. Paul McNamara here with Jake Levin and Pat Serio from SerioVideo.com, bringing you all the action. 4 big games today. Right now we're between the second and third period of the Falmouth-Reading game, and Reading leading it 5-0 after 2. And right now we're pleased to be joined by John Mahoney, a name and a face familiar to many hockey fans, especially on the South Shore. And John, of course, assistant coach at Hingham High, the Harbormen, always one of the top public school programs in the state, and nothing different from that this year, Coach. And you guys have had a little bit of a growth run this year, but seems to be that the kids are where you want to be in February as you head towards tournament time. Yeah,
it's kind of coming together for us, and down here is usually a good barometer to see really where you're at, and still we got 2 games to go. We know we have AC tonight, and who knows on Wednesday or Thursday, but it's always a work in progress, so some ups and downs, and lately it's been more ups than downs. So we're starting to get some new guys in the mix and get a little more scoring balance. So we'll see what happens down here.
And we talked, Coach Tony Messina and you and I talked earlier in the year, and seemed to be the kids were skating well, but you were playing well defensively from the goal on out, but you were having some trouble, especially early on, putting the puck in the net. And I guess that's a season-long struggle for a lot of teams, but once you get some lines together and clicking, and some of the kids, the younger kids, it's a confidence builder when they start to get some points, and it gets better from there.
Right. So I mean, they all count the same, right? Regardless of if it's top shelf or off your rear end. So
yeah, they don't have to be pretty.
No. So, but when you look at our results, I don't think we've given up more than 4 goals this season, regardless of the opponent. So we played some of the better teams pretty tight, but you know what? A loss is a loss. That's so. Scoring has been a sort of a work in progress, and we've generated a lot of shots. Oftentimes good scoring opportunities too, but just having a hard time finding the back of the net. And when you look at a lot of the teams we like to play, and all the teams that others play as well, kind of like down here, they're all pretty well coached for the most part. So they're not. They make you work for your chances. There's no bad pinches or cheap 2-on-1s or breakaways. Yeah, I mean, have you seen a breakaway yet here today? I mean, I didn't see one the other day. So, when you get some good defensive structure out there with 5 guys in the other team, they're committed to getting pucks out of the zone and blocking shots. They make you work for it. You know what?
We saw 1 breakaway in the first game, and it was shorthanded. And through the course of this season, I think I've seen more shorthanded breakaways than even strength breakaways, and that's you get some active penalty killers, and you get guys that are on the power play who are focused on offense, and they might forget or something might slip by them. But you're right. Coaching is so great in Eastern Mass, and kids are learning the game well. But I want to go back to something you said a minute ago, that the Hingham schedule. Now, you guys are an independent, so you do set your own schedule, and that can be a double-edged sword sometimes, because you want to play good teams and you want to get better, but the downside of that is sometimes the L's start to pile up because you're playing good teams. But I think if you manage it well, like Hingham, teams like Hingham usually do, one eye is looking at that overall record to make sure you're tournament eligible, while the other one is, hey, we're not going to get better, just getting automatic wins against teams that don't stack up as well.
Yeah, it's been something we've been at for 15 or 18 years that Garrett started, and sometimes your wins and losses in a weird way are a byproduct of how up and down some of your opponents are. So the year, I think a couple of years ago, we didn't even make the tournament. We had 5 or 6 wins, but Duxbury is excellent, and Marshall was excellent, and Reading was good that year. So some of the games where you get kind of a puncher's chance against Malden Catholic and St. John's Prep.
Right.
And you hope to play well and get a point or 2 out of those games. And then when you're not getting points against some of your rivals and some of the other teams, then it might make for a 4 or 5 win year. But, we're not going to change it.
No, nor should you. I think, I think the purists like that.
Yeah, and the kids like it, and we get a lot of respect from the opposing coaches, which at the end of the day, it's all we need and want, and especially that's all our kids want. And we do run into a situation last year where, we might have got overlooked because of our wins and losses. So be it. I mean, the Super 8, whatever. Our kids had a blast doing what they did last year, and
you made chicken salad out of whatever you would do.
And you know what? At the end of the day, Tony said this before. He can go into that final day of the Super 8 voting, and when you got to go into that final meeting, do a lot of talking, you're kind of on the bubble anyways.
Right,
and he had to talk last year. Whereas if you got the team and the record speaks for itself, you just kind of go in and say, okay, we're here to look for a seed. But still a long way to go this year. Who knows what's going to happen? But you just sort of cliche, shift by shift, game by game. But if you're looking at the prize at the end, you're going to mess up at some point, and that's not what you want, especially when dealing with kids.
Yeah, and it's one game at a time, one period at a time, one shift at a time. So to use cliches.
Right.
But the ice is made. The teams will be out here in a minute, John. But talking to John Mahoney from Hingham, just a quick kind of look forward to today's game, what you guys are looking to do and what you know about Arlington Catholic.
But we always open up with them in a scrimmage. The first sort of real scrimmage after cuts from both teams. And it's always a competitive game, and you're looking to see what they did early in the year, kind of like us. Not a lot of scoring, a lot of close games. I saw a 0-0 tie in there somewhere. And looking at their last few games and then watching them the other night, they're obviously getting better as they're playing. They're a big team. They're not going to beat themselves. If this is going to be
a good coaching,
this is going to be a one-goal game. They're probably not going to pinch. Where, if we get guys looking for 2-on-1s and cheap stuff like that, it's not going to happen. So it's kind of may be a bounce here or there. They're good in the goal. We think we're good in the goal, but, we'll see. It's kind of, they're kids. You don't know who's going to show up or who's going to take a penalty, but you hope for the best, and there's no doubt it's going to be a good game. So,
well, good luck. It's always a pleasure to watch and get to call a Hingham game. The great Jake Levin, a Hingham guy, will be doing the play-by-play, but be a pleasure doing color on that one for you guys. And this time of year we usually run into each other more than once. And,
right. And I had a blast that year we did the playing games. I tell you what, it's funner to play in the games and call them. But some years your team's not so good. I'll it's always fun to be involved at some point.
Yeah, you get a little different perspective too from that point of view. But
you're not so worked up. You're having fun with it. So,
well, good luck today, and to the Harbormen and to the Cougars as well. We look for a good game, and we had a good one in the first one.
Should be a nightcap too.
And
it'll be good too.
I mean, the first game was a great one. It went to overtime in the shootout with Archbishop Williams prevailing over Duxbury in an even game. This one looks a little one-sided. Falmouth kind of rebuilding, and Reading is loading up for
Reading's excellent.
They look pretty good on that power play.
Yeah.
And then and throughout, and they've got a great goaltender. Yep. But your game will be close, and certainly BC High and Austin Prep, familiar foes and familiar with the postseason, and BC High has gotten better throughout the season, and Austin Prep the same. So, we expect a great one in the nightcap too, and I'm sure you guys will be around for part of that one after.
Yeah, we'll stick around. I mean, regardless, we have, one of those guys.
Exactly.
Depending on how we do.
You got to scout.
Got to see somebody. So,
Coach John Mahoney, thanks for taking the time to be with us, and good luck to the Harbormen today.
Thank you.
Pleasure. So, Coach John Mahoney in preparation for his game, visiting the booth, and always great to visit with the coaches, and we hope to have a treat for you later on today with Coach Buddy Ferreira and Coach Charlie Driscoll stopping by the booth when they get a chance. We'll take a quick break here before the start of the third period of this one. It is Reading 5, Falmouth nothing, as we head into the third period of Game 2 from the Buddy Ferreira Classic.